All right, so now we're going to take a look at range. And in this one, we're looking at a set of numbers between an upper and lower number. If you think back in math class when they talked about a range of numbers, it's the distance from the smallest to the largest number. So if we use range, we can say for x in range, let's say 1 to 15. So I want to put colon at the end of that. So the colon, again, is going to indent for that function so that everything that's indented will take place before it moves on. All right, so I'm just going to say print x. Now with range, it's going to print everything up to your highest number. So it's not going to print the 15. It's going to print 1 through 14. So if I wanted to print 1 through 15, I would need to use range 1 to 16. All right. Now let's just say that I wanted to count by twos. So on this one, I'm going to go with range from 1 to 15, but counting by 2, so I will skip every other number. And so I've got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. I can change that to 3. Whoops. All right. So we've got the bottom of our range, the top of our range, which is one more than as high as it's going to go, and then we've got what we want to count by. Now we can add up those numbers. So let's say sum equals 0. Then we'll come down here and say sum equals sum plus x. Now I want to print the sum after I've printed all the numbers. So I'm going to backspace to get out of that indent area. So after it's counted all these, then I want it to print sum. All right, so it's printing 1 to 15, counting by 3. So I've got 1, 4, 7, 10, 13. Then it gives me the total of these numbers added up. Now, if I just wanted the total, whoops. I can just take that out and it'll give me the total. So I could do 1 to 400 counted by 3s. Add them up. 26,467. So that's kind of a simple illustration of how we can use range in Python. All right, now something else we could do with this, we could print the sum after each addition. So I can tab this over. Now it's going to give me a running total starting at the beginning. So my first number was 1. Then my next number would have been 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. Then my next number would be 7. So 5 plus 7 is 12. And then it gives me a running total all the way up to the 26,467. All right, now if we wanted to, we could count backwards. Now I can count my sums going backwards if I wanted to. So I can change this positive 3, say to negative 2. But now if I'm counting backwards, if I look If I start at 1 and go -2, I'm never going to get to 400 because I'm going in the other direction. So we'll keep that a little bit smaller. So we'll go from 100 down to 1, which, remember, we'll actually count down to 2 because we're not going to go all the way to 1 right here. So let's clear this. All right. So this is what we get. If we start at 100, counting them by 2, so it'd be 100 plus 98 is 198, plus 97 plus, or I'm sorry, plus 96, plus 94, plus 92, plus 90, counting all the way down. Or if we just wanted to count down, I can take out the print sum, change this back to an X, clear that, and run, and so we count all the way down. Now, even if we count down by ones, remember, it's just going to go to 2, so if I wanted to count down from 100 to 1, I would need to change this 1 to a 0. So it counts down to 1. And if I wanted to count down to 0, I need to change this to -1. And so that's going to count from 100 down to 0. And so that's just a little bit of working with range. All right, let's look at one more way we can use range. So let's say that you have a small airplane that you can carry up to 5 passengers or 1,000 pounds. So you're going to have the passengers step on a scale before you get on the airplane so you can track the total weight for safety purposes. So since we're going to be adding, I'm going to start out with a variable. I'm going to call it sum. And it's going to start out at 0 before anybody gets on the airplane. Now I could use a counter and a while function, or I can just use range. So we can say, I just say for x in range, since we're going to have 5 people, I'll say 0 to 5, or I could say 1 to 6, because remember, it's going to come up 1 short of that last number. So that'd be, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4, right there. Okay. Now I'll put the colon at the end of it so it indents. So it's just going to execute the stuff that's indented that's under that. So we'll say I use W for my variable for weight. And my scale can do fractions of a pound. So I can say float. If the scale just weighed in pounds, and it could say integer, but we could have somebody weighs 196.3 pounds. All right, and this is going to be an input. We use our quotation marks. Enter weight. Okay, now I want to add these up as they're entered. So I'll say sum equals sum plus W. Now my output, I don't want to add it up every time we enter a weight. I want to wait until it gets to the very end and then just give me a total. So I want to backspace so that I'm no longer in that range loop. Now I'll say print and quotation marks. Total weight equals
whoops, not plus, or total weight equals, and come outside the parentheses, plus, and then I want my variable sum, but we've got to turn it into a string because we can't, it won't concatenate the words with the numbers, so I just type in str and put sum right there. So now if we run it, say 195.3, whoops, say 149.9, 205.5, 210.0, and 188.6. All right, this is something that Python does depending on the compiler that you're using. Because it's switching from binary to base 10 and stuff, it's not exact, so we can use a rounding function on there. But for our purposes, it's not necessary right now. So we're at 949.3 pounds, which is within the 1,000 pounds, so we can get all 5 people on the airplane and be safe.